There's a quiet thread that runs through the fabric of human consciousness, an invisible pulse, a rhythm we felt before we even had names for it. It's something ancient, something sacred. It's there when the wind rushes through trees with a kind of knowing. It's there in the firelight when stories are passed down, not just to entertain, but to remember. You felt it too, maybe in moments when time seemed to loosen its grip and something deeper emerged. Not louder, but truer. That thread has been followed by shamans, mystics, seekers, and skeptics alike. It weaves its way through silence and chaos, through questions that have no clear answers and truths that don't quite fit into words. This is the journey inward and backward and outward all at once. And today, we follow it. We often think of ourselves as modern, rational, technologically advanced. But even now, beneath our algorithms and data, we hunger for meaning. Not just information, not just pleasure. Meaning. It's what kept ancient people looking at the stars night after night. It's what made them trace symbols in stone, paint myths on cave walls, and breathe deeply around sacred fires. They weren't just surviving, they were remembering, listening, participating in something greater than themselves. But what is that something greater? Some call it the divine, others the cosmos. Some find it in religion, others in nature, others still in art or solitude. Yet across cultures and centuries, the human spirit has returned to similar themes: oneness, transcendence, connection. And this longing didn't arise randomly. It emerged because we are wired for it. The same way we're wired to feel pain or joy, we're wired to seek significance, to reach for what lies beyond. It's no coincidence that almost every ancient culture cultivated practices to enter altered states of consciousness: meditation, chanting, fasting, dance, and yes, plant medicines. These weren't used carelessly but ceremonially, not to escape life but to deepen into it, to make contact with the hidden layers of reality that our everyday minds tend to gloss over. They believed, and many still do, that these experiences don't just change how we feel, they change who we are. They reset the soul, they remind us. What they remind us of, perhaps, is that we're not as separate as we seem. You are not isolated. You are not merely a self-contained unit trying to navigate a hostile world. You are part of the unfolding, the breathing, the dreaming of the universe itself. Every inhale connects you to 1,000 leaves. Every heartbeat echoes the first drum that ever sounded. And every question you ask about life, death, purpose is a continuation of a conversation humanity has been having since the beginning. But how did we lose touch with that? Why does so much of modern life feel like noise, loud, bright, fast yet hollow? Somewhere along the way, the thread got tangled. Maybe it was the industrial age, or the rise of mechanized thinking. Maybe it was the overemphasis on productivity at the cost of presence, or the belief that only what can be measured is real. But the result is clear. Many of us are starving for depth in a world obsessed with surfaces. This is not to romanticize the past. Ancient people had their own limitations, their own blind spots. But they did carry something we're in danger of forgetting: a sense of the sacred, a reverence for mystery, an ability to listen not just with ears but with spirit. And while we can't turn back time, we can turn inward. We can reawaken the part of ourselves that still remembers, the part that knows we are not just minds or bodies, but carriers of a flame passed down through generations. To do this, we don't need to abandon reason. We need to balance it. Logic has its place. so does science, but so does stillness, so does wonder, so does the humility of not knowing. The moment we believe we have everything figured out is the moment we stop growing. Wisdom doesn't come from certainty, it comes from openness, from allowing ourselves to be reshaped by what we don't yet understand. And that's where the real work begins. Not in the accumulation of answers, but in the refinement of questions. Who are you, beneath the roles, the labels, the expectations? What is the nature of consciousness? Where does awareness come from, and where does it go? These are not just philosophical musings. They are invitations to sit more deeply in your own life, to see your experiences not as random events, but as teachings, to recognize that every joy and sorrow is part of your unfolding, your remembering. This remembering isn't linear. It doesn't follow a straight path. It spirals, it dips and rises. Sometimes it feels like regression, other times like revelation. And yet each step is part of the return. A return not to something external,